Hey everybody, it's Hylian Alchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Red. In the last episode, we began our journey. We caught Nidoran Male, we caught Spearow, and while we were in Viridian Forest, we caught Pikachu. And in this episode, we are going to explore Pewter City. First and foremost, as you can see here, I raised up my Bulbasaur to level 13, and the reason for that is because it learns Vine Whip at that level. And I'm probably going to want to use, I'm probably going to need Vine Whip for that upcoming challenge we're going to get to. For reasons that you will see. Of course, that would have made that kind of challenge pathetically easy, which you will see once we get to that challenge, which is, of course, the gym. So pretty much what I'll do every time I visit a new town, I would just be exploring the place. Guess talking to all those NPCs in case they, well, some of the NPCs will actually give you some items. So I actually want to be sure about that. No, we did not check out the museum. And so you're just going to drag me all the way over there against my will. Thanks, asshole. Yeah, here's one place of interest for Pewter City. That's the museum, but, well, I'm seeing a little bit. There's just this, other house that I was going to go into. Most of the NPCs around here will kind of give you some tips, kind of like how the instruction book will entail. And this guy will talk about the concept of trading. So basically, like, you did see the that other reception desk in the Pokemon Center. Well, that's for the cable club. If you have a link cable, which, of course, luckily for me, I actually do have a link cable. And if you have a friend of yours that has another Game Boy, or any kind of Game Boy system that is compatible with the Red and Blue, or any kind of Pokemon game in general, then use that link cable to link up to the other player, and you can actually trade Pokemon from one version to another. So that way you can get some exclusive Pokemon. Here's the catch, though. The Pokemon that is traded to you will get they'll receive extra experience points, basically. Like, they'll receive a boosted amount of EXP. However, you do want to be careful, though, because if you do not have enough badges, you know, those things are rewarded to you after you defeat a gym leader. Yeah, I kind of said a little earlier. Those Pokemon will not obey you very much. Like, if they're too strong, if they're higher level than the appropriate kind of level that, that your badge, like, I'll get more on that a little later, once we, after we defeated the first gym leader, because I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But yeah, here's a museum here. And yeah, those were the, Kabutops and Aerodactyl fossil. Where's the Amistar fossil? How come you're not showing me that? A little piece of trivia here, I do believe one of those, fossil sprites, which are the kind of the sprites that all those kids just shit their pants seeing those. One of those could be, one of the forms of that one glitch Pokemon, which is called Missing No. And that I'll probably show off later on this LP if I ever could, assuming that probably would never destroy my game in the process. And we got another person dragging me along to another building against my will, but hey, this is the building that we're gonna need to go to. And yeah, he won't let you he won't let you leave the city until you have beaten the gym leader, which is right inside this gym here. Well, after I get done talking to this girl. But yes, this is a gym, and let's see here. Pewter City Pokemon Gym Leader Brock, the rock solid Pokemon trainer. So, for yeah, this is one of those big things in this game, and pretty much all the Pokemon games, except for Sun and Moon, where instead we had the, Island Trials. For the, basically, well, first of all, I want to read this statue here. Winning trainers are ass-face, and yeah, your rival will actually, try to, they're usually the ones to get to the gyms first, before you do, so you're kind of the butt monkey here. So there are actually a total of 8 gyms in each of the Pokemon regions. Well, as I already mentioned before about when it comes to Sun and Moon. At least from generations 1 through 6. Like, there are a total of 8 gyms here. And they're very important, like, for you to progress through the story. We got one of these gym trainers here that you might want to go ahead and train up, like, just to give your Pokemon some experience. And this right here is a junior trainer. Junior trainers, well, I guess, well, there's not much to say about them. I mean, they're kind of like those youngsters that we'll be into later on, even though we haven't encountered them yet. This right here is a Diglett, and it is a pure ground type. And yeah, he doesn't even use any rock type Pokemon, which is actually what the what this gym specializes in. And next up, he's going to be sending out Sandshrew. And yeah, the cries are a little distorted, and well, when the HP is low and it does that annoying beeping sound, yeah, those. Yeah, whenever your Pokemon's HP is low, you'll be hearing that beeping sound constantly. It does it over and over, and it's just so annoying. And somehow, later on, we get treated to a fucking remix of that beeping sound. Yes, I'm looking at you, Gen 5. Although in Gen 6, it only just beeps for about, like 4 times and it stops. Anyway, so yeah, Sandshrew. Sandshrew cannot be catchable in red version. It is exclusive to blue version. While the opposite goes for a Pokemon called Ekans, which we will see later on this episode. And Sand Attack. Ugh. I hated Sand Attack, at least in this generation. Because, like, just to add insult to injury, like, you know, after using Sand Attack... See, look at that right here. This game is laughing at me. Because after your opponent uses Sand Attack, even once, it just feels like your accuracy just decreases heavily. It heavily drops. That's basically what Sand Attack does. It lowers your accuracy here, and what that means is that, like, see, I got a hit right there at least. When your accuracy is lower, then it increases the chance of your Pokemon missing an attack. Or by your opponent avoiding an attack. And in this gen, because it kind of feels like it decreases heavily, that would be pretty much luck-based when you want a Pokemon to get a direct hit. Or your own Pokemon, actually. But nevertheless, we have finally made it to Brock, the gym leader in Pewter City, and yes, like I said before, he specializes in the rock type. Despite the fact that the other trainer does not use any rock type Pokemon, but they are ground types though, so it is it still kind of makes sense. Maybe. Alright, so our first gym leader battle against Brock, and he is going to start off with a Geodude. But since we have Vine Whip, look at this. You can easily cheese those Pokemon here. And it's also because Geodude, along with Onix right here, they are both rock and ground type Pokemon, and they are both weakened by grass types. So that means like 4 times weakness. And look at that. You can just one-shot those Pokemon just with the little Vine Whip. See? Instant kill. Well, not necessarily kill unless I was playing a Nuzlocke challenge. But yeah, you can easily cheese those with Vine Whip because of Geodude's and Onix's typing. Same could be said for Squirtle, though, since they're also 4 times weak against water. So it's also set to Squirtle as well. But Charmander, you were going to be there for a while. Now, here's another thing. If you were playing Yellow version, you are going to want to catch a Pokemon called Mankey, which is a fighting type, and that is, of course, strong against the rock type. Because Pikachu, unfortunately, cannot do jack shit against Geodude and Onix, because electrical attacks, they can't do anything against ground types. Ground types are completely immune to electric types, so if you try to attack them with electrical attacks, then, well, you're out of luck. Because they don't do shit at all. So you're going to want to catch a Mankey for that beforehand. But now we have defeated Brock, and we have attained our first badge of the game, the Boulder Badge. And he already described what it allows us to do. Like, I do believe, with the Boulder Badge, Pokemon up to level 20, well, traded Pokemon actually will obey you. So let's just say if you receive a Pokemon that is around level 30 in a trade, but only have your Boulder Badge, then that Pokemon will not obey you whatsoever. It'll either loaf around or they'll just fall asleep. So they'll just ignore your commands. So that's one thing you gotta be careful when it comes to training Pokemon. And it also doesn't help that they level up faster because of their boosted experience gain. And not only that though, some of those badges allow you to use HM moves outside of battle, like he said, that allows you to use the move Flash, but we haven't got HMs yet, so a little more on that later. And of course, he also gives you, well, gym leaders will also give you TMs after, like every time after you defeat them. And he also gave us Bide. And what Bide does is that, well, if you haven't been paying attention to what Brock was saying, your Pokemon will absorb the damage and then use that kind of energy to knock out the opposing Pokemon, which is actually which can be pretty strong depending on the attack. But this is where there's one of those glitches in Gen 1 where even if your opposing Pokemon does not use any moves, like damage dealing moves, like, you know, status moves, then that then the Pokemon storing energy with Bide will still count as that Pokemon taking a hit. But sometimes it can be pretty annoying because your Pokemon will just faint before it ever gets a chance. So now we're pretty much done with Pewter City, and now we just made it through 3, and this is a Lass. And basically what Lasses specialize in, they'll specialize in Pokemon that they consider cute, like Pidgeys, Rattatas, or any of the Nidorans. Like any of those cutesy Pokemon, which is all what they're gonna use. And of course, I actually edited that one out there because I was taking a visit to the Pokemon Center. No, I did not meet you in Viridian Forest. You must be lying here. You must be a different person. And he already used the, he was using the Pokemon that we've already encountered, so that's why I cut it off, and that's why I was mentioning before. And this right here, ooh, I like shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear. Yes, the kind of meme that's spawned everywhere because of those youngsters. And yeah, this is a youngster. I guess they can be a bit similar to the junior trainers, which will later on be called campers, starting with Gen 2. So youngsters, I think they specialize in Pokemon that can be on the offense. Well, they'll typically use kind of common Pokemon, like Rattatas. It's not until Gen 2 where you meet a Joey and a super cool Rattata. Yes, the top percentage of Rattata. And why is it that in Sun and Moon we have a Alolan youngster Joey who does not even use a Alolan Rattata? I do not get that. It is beyond me. I mean, he just uses a Metapod instead, so I just really don't get it. And Pikachu learned Thunder Wave. And what that does is that it'll paralyze your opposing Pokemon. And that's actually pretty convenient to use, especially on certain battles. Now, this right here is Ekans. Ekans is exclusive to Red, and it is not, and it can't be found in Blue, which it said that's where Sandshrew is found. And oh my god, Rap. Dear Lord, I fucking hate Rap in this generation, because as you can see here, not only will your Pokemon just take damage every turn, you can't do jack shit in Rap. Well, when your Pokemon's wrapped. Because that Pokemon's attack will continue on and on and on and on. And your Pokemon can't do anything whatsoever. Not a goddamn thing. Good God. I hated this move. I hate that move so much. I just want to continue fighting you, but you just won't let me. God damn it. Ugh. That's one thing that's so annoying about the move Rap. Thankfully, though, they fixed it in Gen 2, where it's basically treated as where, after the opponent uses Rap, then you can still move, but you'll just take damage for a few turns. Like when your Pokemon's wrapped and you can't do anything at all, it just happens for about 2 to 5 turns, and that gets very annoying in this generation. Ugh. So that's all I had to say about Rap. So yeah, since I've recorded this footage up to about 30 minutes, and I'm pretty much going way ahead through Route 3. All the way, well, not all the way to the next town, but to, probably to the next dungeon. And I actually didn't mention this before, and I actually was very well aware of that. After you defeat your rival a second time in the optional battle near the Pokemon League, you can go back to Palatown and speak to Professor Oak, and he'll give you 5 Pokeballs for free. I guess that's kind of a way. Oh, hey, you just beat my grandson. You kind of deserve that. So here you go, 5 Pokeballs for you. Yeah, what a great grandfather. Not to mention how he just forgot his grandson's name, and so I named him Assface, and then he goes like, oh, I remember now, his name is Assface! It's just hilarious like that, like, because nobody ever names him Gary or Blue. They just give him whatever insults that there could be, and then his grandfather will acknowledge him being named like that. And this right here is Metapod, just like Kakuna, and it is the evolved form of Caterpie. Right by up to level 7 is when it evolves. And yeah, just like Kakuna, then that's when it'll learn. It'll keep on using Harden, so it can't take a while unless you have a flying type Pokemon, like Spearow, actually. Let's see here, what else was there to say? I think I was gonna say something else when it comes to gym leaders. I think I've pretty much summarized up to what I was talking about when it comes to gym leaders. Well, maybe not what they what each of the maybe not more so about the gyms themselves. Like yeah, the gyms have their own kind of type specialty. Like after like the Pewter City gym, it specializes in rock types. So yeah, each of the gyms will have their own kind of specialty that we'll get into later on. And I know, it kind of sounds like I'm losing my voice here. Maybe it's because I kind of yelled, or maybe it's because of how I ranted about rap, but I couldn't help it, you know? I just couldn't stress any more about how much I hated rap. Oh, so you like my looks, huh? About how intriguing it is? Of course, I really shouldn't be saying stuff like that, considering that I'm 20 years old, and she's like around 11 or something. Or strangely enough, like we have, well, strangely enough, like the age of consent in Japan is like 14, and here in America it's 18. Oh, and by the way, I actually didn't mention this at all, but I'm actually recording this not on my Hop Hog. Like, in my previous 3 Let's Plays, I recorded my games on the Hop Hog, on the Wii U. For this LP, I am not doing so. Instead, I'm using my Dazzle because, while the Hop Hog is capable of recording non-HD consoles, the video quality kind of looks like shit. Like, it looks rather blurry for some reason. And so I didn't want to have you guys just trying to watch the video and just like not quite be satisfied with the quality. So I went back to using my Dazzle, and at least, while it isn't perfect per se, at least it looks better than how the Hop Hog would look. Like if I recorded this game on the Hop Hog. So that's pretty much the reason why. It actually still works, though. And for this last right here, she is going to be using Jigglypuff. And Jigglypuff is the more offensive than the other fairy, which is called Clefairy. Well, both those Pokemon later on in Gen 6, they would become fairy types. Well, in Jigglypuff's case, it's normal and fairy, while Clefairy is pure fairy. Okay, I apologize for that very long pause right there, because my dad was calling on the phone, and he left a message, and my phone, or the house phone that is actually right in my room, right next to me. I actually have the ringer off, but the voice message can still be heard. And for some reason, nobody else answered. But anyways, one annoying thing about Jigglypuff when you're battling against it is that it'll constantly use the move Sing. Well, not constantly, I should say, but sometimes it'll use Sing. And that actually puts your Pokemon to sleep. Well, from what that other Jigglypuff demonstrated in the Pokemon Center in Pewter City. So that about does it for Route 3. And once we go right up ahead, up here. And yeah, you tripped over Geodude right here. Let me go ahead and just heal my Pokemon first. Another thing I gotta say, though, I didn't actually comment on Geodude's sprite. It actually really looks like it has hair. I mean, seriously, if you actually didn't... If you probably didn't see that much before, like... In Gen 1, well, in Red and Blue at least, Geodude looked like it had hair. That nice little hairdo. And I actually couldn't go on to comment just how terrible Pokemon sprites were in Red and Blue. Yeah, the sprites in Red and Blue are just... They are pretty bad. Like, really, they are pretty bad. Yellow at least fixed that with those sprites. Of course, the back sprites still kind of do look like shit, but the sprites in Yellow look, they at least look just as close to what their official artwork would look. And yeah, that man in the Pokemon Centers will sell you a Magikarp for 500 Pokédollars. But I'm not gonna go for Magikarp. Well, because I wasn't considering it for my team. Magikarps, they are pathetic as hell. They know the moves Splash and Tackle. Splash doesn't do anything at all. They don't do a goddamn thing. Instead, that Magikarp just splashes around. And the only thing it can do is just Tackle. And then we just got TM12, which contains, I think, Bubble, or was it Water Gun? That was Water Gun, yeah. So anyway, this is Mount Moon, our second, of course, dungeon here. And Mount Moon, this is where you'll encounter a bunch of these Pokemon called Zubats. And this is the one thing that kids back when they were playing Pokemon, they were annoyed as hell just having to encounter so many Zubats, because you're going to be encountering those a lot in Mount Moon. That's where those Zubats annoy the fuck out of those kids. Just Zubat after Zubat after Zubat, and sometimes you'll encounter the occasional Geodude. And sometimes Paris as well. But they're more common in the next floor down. And this is Clefairy. And Clefairy is more of the defensive kind of Pokemon, other than Jigglypuff, where it's offensive. But from what I looked at the stats, Clefairy is actually better than Jigglypuff. And if you want to choose between Jigglypuff and Clefairy, definitely go for the latter. And as a matter of fact, I was actually considering Clefairy as part of my team. And it actually can be found in Mount Moon. But one thing for sure, just like Pikachu in Viridian Forest, Clefairy has a ridiculously low encounter rate. I mean, it has only a tiny bit higher encounter rate, but just by 1%. Actually, it's 1% in this floor when you're looking for Clefairy. And I think in the lower floors, then I think it's just about 5% encounter rate for Clefairy. But maybe as I go through this dungeon, then hopefully, well, just by pure luck, I'll probably run into a Clefairy. But I was actually considering adding Clefairy to my team, because well, at least its evolved form that we'll begin to. It is a very good Pokemon to use. and to have on your team as well. So that's one of those reasons. Oh, another thing I actually didn't mention about Geodude having hair. That's where we got a Alolan Geodude, where it has those little hair strands, and I guess that's supposed to be a callback to those terrible Gen 1 sprites, well, at least in Red and Blue. Ah, yes, those were the days. So, anyway, I guess I'll just go ahead and leave it here right now. In the next episode, we're going to explore we're going to explore more of Mount Moon and see what's up ahead here, and hopefully I'll probably catch that Clefairy that I wanted. So, till next time, see you guys later.